Reborn at the scene of his very own wedding, his day was just starting. The first thing he did was kick his own mother 10 meters into the air. Next, in front of a gasping crowd, he casually stomped down hard. The fake master's leg was now a human pretzel, but he was not finished. A majestic backhand sent his father, who was charging right at him, to play the hero. Flying clean across the room, so why this sudden, brutal showcase? Because 13 years ago, his sixth sister, green with jealousy, sold him off to human traffickers, and after he was finally rescued and brought back home, he received absolutely zero love from his so-called family. Instead, he was constantly framed, manipulated, and abused by the fake young master, the parasite who had stolen his entire life. His sisters treated him like he was radioactive waste. And his youngest sister literally told the world that she wished he was dead. At this moment, his mother, Mary Carter, was screeching with unholy fury. "You ungrateful little gremlin, if I don't beat the living daylights out of you." Today my name isn't Mary. Watching her charge at him, he felt absolutely nothing. Just a freezing, desolate emptiness, and just as her hand was about to strike his face, he caught her wrist midair and swatted her away like a fly. The guests could only stare at the absolute chaos, their jaws on the floor. Mary shrieked, her face twisting into a mask of pure, unadulterated hatred. "You absolute trash, I am your mother. How dare you lay a hand on me? I'll end you today." She lunged forward again. He simply grabbed her by the hair. Her perfectly styled hair became a handle to slam her head onto the table. He then casually pulled a butter knife from the wedding cake, pressing it to her neck. Still dizzy from the impact, Mary felt the cold steel on her throat and froze. Terrified out of her mind, her voice trembled. "Why, you little psycho? What are you doing?" He swept a freezing glare over the crowd, then looked down. "Right at her, Mary Carter, from this day on, if I ever hear you refer to yourself as my mother again, I will permanently silence you, and trust me, I always keep my promises. I gave birth to you, why can't I say it?" she squeaked. Hearing this, he pressed the butter knife just a millimeter closer. "Mary, touch your non-existent conscience and ask yourself, do you even deserve to be called a mother?" Seeing this, his father, Thomas Carter, couldn't take it. He rushed forward yelling, "Liam Carter, you useless piece of garbage. Let your mother go right now." Without missing a beat, Liam raised his leg. A roundhouse kick sent Thomas crashing hard right into the floor. Watching this unfold, the three Carter sisters, Sophia, Evelyn, and Lily, and the newly crippled fake master, Kevin, were absolutely stunned into silence. Meanwhile, William Vance, his soon-to-be father-in-law, stood by, acting all high and mighty. He clicked his tongue in fake disappointment. "Look at this display. How can I possibly hand my daughter over to a complete thug like you? You've truly disappointed us." Liam casually tossed Mary aside, holding the frosting-covered butter knife, and slowly walked towards William. "Don't come any closer." William trembled like a leaf, stuttering, "Doubly, what do you want?" Liam just gave him a side eye and spat out two simple words, "Walking garbage," leaving him sweating. He turned, walked up onto the stage, and grabbed the microphone. "Thank you. Thank you all for coming out of your busy schedules to witness this total circus of a wedding," he announced clearly. "As you've all witnessed, the bride, Miss Olivia Vance, has decided to pull a runaway bride act and just ditch the venue. Therefore, from this moment on, he, Liam Carter, officially cancels his engagement to Olivia Vance." The crowd was stunned. Liam was actually calling off the engagement. They were completely floored. Everyone in Mado City's high society knew Liam Carter had been obsessed with Olivia Vance for 8 whole years. And now he was pulling the plug. What nonsense. Thomas Carter scrambled up from the floor, ignoring the pain as he charged toward the stage. "Who gave you permission to cancel this wedding? This was arranged by the elders. You have no say in this. I absolutely forbid it." Just then, Beatrice Vance, Olivia's mother, shot up from her seat. "You little punk, how dare you? How dare you say that in front of everyone? How is my daughter supposed to show her face in public after this? To Liam, this was just hilarious. So her daughter runs away from her own wedding in front of hundreds of people, and she's worried about her reputation. What about his? Beatrice's face twisted in fury as she shrieked. Does trash like you even need a reputation? Marrying my daughter is a blessing you couldn't earn in 8 lifetimes. Take back your words right now, or I will have you taught a lesson. Beatrice, if you look down on him so much, why not just let him divorce your precious daughter? That way you can find a much better man for her. Hearing the word divorce, Beatrice turned pale and immediately changed her tune. You are not divorcing Olivia. We will never agree to it. Drop dead before you even dream of it. Liam looked at her, genuinely confused by this reaction. But before he could ask, William Vance stepped up, playing peacemaker. Liam, my boy. You can't just throw around the word divorce over one little misunderstanding. Be a man about it, be generous, tolerate her little flaws. Marrying her is your good fortune after all. Now tell everyone this was just a big joke. Or else I'll really have to discipline you. If Liam didn't know William's true colors, he might have actually fallen for his gaslighting. Looking at his 2 wonderful in-laws, he felt a sudden, strong urge to just laugh out loud. On the surface, they told him to cherish Olivia, but behind his back, they were constantly seeking a richer son-in-law. Yet they refused to let him divorce her. The reason didn't matter. Are you all deaf? He said coldly. I'm not asking for your opinions. I am informing you. I am canceling the engagement. I want a divorce. Shut your mouth, you rebellious mistake. Get on your knees, Thomas Carter roared. He lunged forward with a raised hand to slap him, but Liam reached out, grabbing his wrist. He twisted it backward and delivered a swift kick to his knee. Crack. The crisp sound echoed through the hall as Thomas collapsed, clutching his broken arm. He groaned in agony. You ungrateful wretch, how dare you do this to your own father? I'll call the cops and throw you in jail. Save your breath, Liam crouched. He whispered coldly, Thomas. Even if I go to jail, I'll just pay you some chump change for medical bills. But if you go to the police station, I'm not so sure you'll ever come out. What do you mean? Thomas froze. How did Uncle Donald die? You know better than I do, right? You, how do's you? Thomas looked at him like he had just seen a ghost. Liam simply chuckled, tossing his phone up and catching it. If you don't want people to know, don't do it. He didn't just know, he knew exactly where the evidence was. He even offered to call the cops. At that, Thomas turned paler than a sheet. His eyes were wide with terror as he pointed a trembling finger at Liam. Unless he formally cut ties, the wedding with Olivia was never getting cancelled. Cut ties, Liam sneered, almost welcoming the idea. Thomas, Mary, and the rest of the Carters stood there, completely dumbfounded. He ignored them, grabbed a butter knife, and walked toward 2 ancient twin trees in the courtyard. And right on cue, dark clouds gathered, and a cold, eerie wind swept through the entire wedding venue. Liam stood before the trees, slicing a small cut on his index finger with the knife. Then, using his own blood, he wrote on the trunk, I, Liam Carter, from this day forth sever all ties and affection with Olivia Vance. The marriage is permanently void. After writing, he turned to the sky, letting a drop of his blood fall right onto his chest. Heaven above, earth below, I, Liam Carter, swear on my blood. From today onward, I cut all ties with the Carter family. We are strangers. For life, if I break this oath, may lightning strike me down. The second the words left his mouth, a blood-red bolt of lightning struck the ancient trees. The thunder shook the whole venue. Red rain, like drops of blood, began to splatter across the ground. Everyone there was absolutely terrified. They stared at him like he was some kind of demon. His piece said he stripped off his wedding suit jacket, leaving only his white shirt, and walked right out of the venue. The Carter and Vance families were left completely frozen in shock. Suddenly, a scream shattered the silence. Mom, Dad, Kevin passed out. Hearing this, Mary completely forgot the fresh cut on her neck and rushed over. My son, wake up. Don't scare Mommy. Lily Carter then looked at Kevin's soaked pants, her face turning pale. Mom, Kevin's little companions, I think they've been completely squashed. We need to get him to the city hospital now, Sister Sarah. We'll know what to do. Nearby, Sophia Carter stormed up to Thomas. Dad, we can't let this go. Look what Liam did to you and Kevin. We have to call the police and lock him up. Hearing the word police, Thomas panicked. No police. Sophia looked at him, completely stunned. Dad, I know you usually go easy on that brat. But he crippled Kevin. If we don't teach him a lesson, he'll walk all over us. Are you deaf? Thomas roared, his eyes bulging. I said no police in that. Means no police, Sophia was flabbergasted. Since when do you care? So much about him, you really don't want him in jail, but Thomas didn't explain. He just glared at them. Listen to me, nobody calls the cops today, whoever dares to report this will be kicked out of this family. Right then, 2 black Maybachs pulled up, rushing the injured family members to the hospital. At that very moment, Olivia Vance, dressed in a stunning white mermaid wedding gown, gracefully walked back into the venue. Seeing the chaotic, trash state of her wedding, she looked utterly confused. Beatrice ran up to her daughter, acting like she had just survived a war zone. Olivia, you're finally back, Liam went completely insane today. He crippled Kevin, put a knife to Mary's throat, and broke your father-in-law's arm. William just stood there with a stern face. That piece of trash Liam had gone way too far. He publicly announced he was canceling the wedding, showing zero respect for the Vance family. Hearing this, Olivia's confusion instantly boiled over into pure rage. She snatched the spare suit she'd brought, spun around, and stormed right out. She was going to find Liam. He had crossed a line, and she demanded answers. Meanwhile, at Mato City First Hospital, Lily and Mary sat grimly on a bench in the corridor. Evelyn, Khlo, and Riley rushed over, completely out of breath. Mom, what happened? Evelyn, the eldest, demanded. Weren't you at Liam's wedding? Why are you here? Just hearing Liam's name made Mary tremble with fury. Lily tried to calm her mother down as she recounted the day's events to her 3 sisters, but she conveniently left out the part where Liam cut all ties with them. What? That ungrateful rat attacked Sophia and our parents. Evelyn's face filled with disbelief. Yes, eldest sister, Lily nodded. He went completely insane today. He didn't just injure Kevin, he literally crushed his, family jewels. It was horrific. Evelyn's face darkened, her voice turning to solid ice. That brat doesn't know his place. When he's home, I will break his legs. I absolutely refuse to let him off the hook this time. Khlo's expression was just as twisted. He doesn't deserve to be our brother. We treat him so well. And this is how he repays us. We were too soft on him, sister. You have to beat him half to death. He's a walking disaster. Riley, the youngest, stomped her foot with tears in her eyes. I told you all we should have kicked that trash out, but nobody ever listens to me. Now look. Kevin is suffering because of him. It's all his fault. The sisters felt a headache building, but they didn't argue. In their hearts, keeping Liam around was a huge mistake. Mary stood nearby, muttering to herself in a wave of self-pity. If only I'd kicked him out sooner, my precious Kevin wouldn't be hurt. Evelyn gritted her teeth. 6th sister, call that brat right now, tell him 10 minutes. He has exactly 10 minutes to drag himself to this hospital. Yeah, get him here, Khlo chimed in. I'm gonna slap him 50 times, then make him kneel and apologize. He will beg Kevin for forgiveness, Riley added. Lily nodded and dialed his number. But from the speaker, a cold, automated voice replied, Sorry, the number you dialed is currently busy. Please try again later. Lily hung up, tried again, same result. The sisters stood there, ready to unleash hell on him, but the call just wouldn't connect. Eldest sister, I think he blocked me, Lily said, completely stunned. What? The 3 of them screamed in perfect unison. Impossible. That simp always answers our calls on the very first ring. Try again. Lily tried a few more times. Still blocked, Evelyn was furious. Give me the number, I'll call. But even her call was met with silence. She almost smashed her phone. He even blocked me. This brat is rebelling against the heavens. K.H. Lowe and Riley tried too. Blocked, Liam had blocked every single one of them. They just stared at each other. Sheer disbelief. He was supposed to be their obedient little lapdog. How dare he ignore them now? K.H. Lowe sneered, but then Lily looked up, her voice heavy. Eldest sister, third sister, seventh sister. He doesn't see us as family anymore. At the wedding, she finally revealed, he swore a blood oath. He cut all ties. We are strangers for life, he had said, swearing that if he breaks his oath. Strike him down. The hallway fell completely silent, as if the air itself had frozen solid. Sixth sister, don't let that loser fool you. Riley shattered the silence, rolling her eyes. Cut ties. Yeah, right, he just talks big. How could he possibly survive without us? Exactly. K.H. Lowe immediately agreed. You're too naive, Lily. I've seen these kinds of PR stunts in the entertainment industry 1,000,000 times. It's just a play for attention. Only you would fall for his nonsense. Evelyn let out a dark chuckle. Have you forgotten what kind of parasite he is? As long as he can leech off the Carter family. We could beat him, curse him, and he'd still come crawling back. Cutting ties is nothing but a bluff. Seeing her sisters so confident, Lily kept her mouth shut, and right on cue, the light above the operating room switched off. Everyone rushed the door. How is Kevin? Evelyn asked, her voice laced with anxiety. Sarah Carter, the fifth sister and head surgeon, pulled off her mask, her expression incredibly grim. Liam was too ruthless. Kevin's manhood was completely destroyed. I had to surgically remove it all just to save his life. He'll never have children. Hearing that, Mary's eyes rolled back and she fainted right on the spot. They rushed to catch her, seating her on a chair. Sister, what do we do? Lily cried out. What do we do? Evelyn gritted her teeth, eyes blazing with fury. I'm going to end him. He has to pay for this. K.H. Lowe clenched her fists. He completely ruined Kevin. We can't forgive him for this. Riley was practically trembling with absolute rage. I'm calling the police right now. That trash is going to rot in a cell. No, a deep, authoritative voice cut through the hall. Thomas Carter, arm in a cast and face bruised, was walking over, held up by two nurses. He ruined Kevin. Why can't we call the cops? Riley argued back. Shut your mouth, Thomas roared. I said no, and I mean it. This is a family matter. Anyone who dares call the cops is out of this family. Evelyn and K.H. Lowe shot each other a look, not daring to argue. Only Riley gritted her teeth in frustration. The operating room doors opened again as nurses wheeled Kevin out. The whole family swarmed the bed. Kevin was wrapped up like a mummy, especially around his lower half, which was covered in heavy bandages. Move aside. Let the patient through, the nurse urged. Everyone trailed the bed right into the VIP room. Only Riley hung back. She pulled out her phone and immediately started recording Kevin being wheeled in, getting everyone's tragic expressions on camera. Then she added some dramatic captions and uploaded it straight to her social media, proudly tagging the Motto City Police. At the same time, Liam stood in front of his high-end villa in Motto City. Looking at the place, both familiar and alien, his emotions were a complete mess. He reached out, placing his finger on the smart lock. Fingerprint recognition failed. He let out a bitter, self-deprecating laugh and typed in the old passcode from memory. Click, the door opened. Stepping into the living room, his eyes locked onto the massive wedding portrait on the wall. A violent urge surged within him, a temptation to smash everything in sight, but he took a deep breath and forced himself to stay calm. He then went upstairs to the study where his luggage was kept. He took off his wedding shirt, threw it on the floor, changed into some old clothes, and grabbed his bag. Standing once more in the living room, he glanced at the blue roses outside. They were Olivia's favorite. She'd chosen these for the wedding. He knew her choices had nothing to do with him. He always knew she never loved him. Her cold, contemptuous stare from the day they met proved it. She'd only agreed to this marriage for their business alliance, or more accurately, to grant her late grandfather's dying wish. Back then, as a naive kid, newly returned to the Carter family, He foolishly thought if he treated her with kindness, she'd eventually fall for him. But reality slapped him hard in the face. 14 years he knew her, 4 married years in his past life. He gave her his all, only to get icy indifference in return. She once told him right to his face, "Liam, I'm marrying you for the family. Don't expect love. We are roommates with a certificate. You have no right to interfere in my life." Her words cut like daggers, but he swallowed his pain to maintain the peace until their 5th year, when she fell sick. He dropped everything to care for her day and night. He actually thought she was softening up, but then he saw him at the hospital. Her childhood sweetheart, Michael, a man who looked disturbingly similar to him. That's when it hit him, he wasn't a husband, he was just a low-budget stand-in. The sound of a familiar engine snapped him from his memories. Liam Carter. Olivia screamed the moment she stormed through the door. What was all that nonsense at the wedding? Canceling the engagement. Who gave you the nerve to insult my parents? Did you forget your meds today? And why are your clothes on the floor like a slob? Her voice was a machine gun, treating him like some misbehaving servant. He didn't even bother looking her way. Her very existence disgusted him now. And his silence only stoked her rage. "Liam, you messed up, and now you're giving me attitude. Are you even a man?" Hearing that, he finally spoke, his voice dripping with ice. "Olivia Vance, let me ask you, where did you run off to during our wedding? And that spare suit in your hands, who did you buy it for?" The question caught her completely off guard. A flicker of panic crossed her face, but she masked it instantly. "What are you talking about? I bought it for you, obviously." "For me," he scoffed. "Olivia, do you take me for an idiot? I know you bought that for Michael. But since he turned it down, you just decided to toss it to me like a stray dog." Her face fell, but she quickly put her arrogant mask back on. "So what if I bought it for him? You can't compare to a single strand of his hair. And where I go is none of your business. Just who do you think you are to control me?" Her words just fueled his rage. He sneered. "Then who do you think you are to bark orders at me?" "You're nothing." Olivia went still. Her arrogance evaporated, replaced by sheer disbelief. I'm your wife. Why can't I control you?" "Wife," he scoffed. "You abandoned our wedding with hundreds of people watching, and you dare call yourself a wife?" Her comeback died in her throat. I had an emergency." "I didn't do it on purpose." "An emergency," he cut in sharply. "Your emergency was racing to the airport to see off your precious boy toy, Michael. Tell me I'm wrong." Her eyes widened. "You tracked me, you stalked me. I didn't have to. The entire venue saw it. The whole world knows what a massive joke you made of me," he replied with a sneer. "I'm marrying you for the family. There is no love between us. You have no right to interfere in my life," she screeched, scrambling for control. At that, he just burst out laughing. Absolutely pathetic. No love, no right, perfect. He remembered those words perfectly. "Don't worry, I won't be fooling myself any longer." He grabbed his bag and he headed for the door, but Olivia sprinted over, blocking his way. A frantic Karen, "You're not leaving until you explain yourself, Saf. You're not stepping a foot outside." His face darkened. "Didn't you just say we have no love and I have no right to manage you? Then you have zero right to boss me around. Move." She turned pale with rage. "I don't have the right, I am your legally wedded wife. Why wouldn't I have the right?" He just smirked. "And I'm your husband, yet I have no right to ask why you ditched our wedding for him." She was left speechless, glaring at him with a mix of fury and fake victimhood. It was almost comical. "Save it, Miss Vance. You want to stay here, be my guest. Once I leave, invite your lover over. Start a harem for all I care." Liam Carter is officially out of the picture. At this, she finally teared up. "Liam, I'm not starting a harem. Michael and I are just friends," she cried. "I don't care," he replied coldly, turning to leave. Panicked, she grabbed his arm. "What do you mean we're done?" He stopped and glared. "Do you need a dictionary?" "Done means we have nothing to do with each other anymore." She began to tremble. "How dare you say that? Didn't you swear you'd love me forever? Did you forget?" "I remember perfectly," he said, his voice dangerously low, "and as of today, All those promises are void. We are officially taking separate paths. Olivia panicked, losing her usual cool composure. Liam, today was my fault. I shouldn't have left you to see Michael, but he's leaving the country forever. He's my childhood friend. I had to say goodbye, childhood friend, he chuckled sarcastically. You can marry him tomorrow for all I care. Now move. Liam, there's nothing between me and Michael. Why won't you believe me? What do you actually want, Olivia? His patience had hit absolute zero. She immediately started listing her demands. It was like ordering at a drive-thru. First, apologize to me. I had a reason today. Second, apologize to my parents. Third, apologize to your parents for hitting them. Fourth, go back and tell everyone you were joking about this. Fifth, go to the hospital and visit Kevin. Sixth, you're going to call Michael and apologize to him. Before she could finish her delusional list, he grabbed a vase from the table and smashed it on the floor. Crash. Olivia Vance, you are a wife in name only. Keep barking orders and don't blame me for what happens next. She screamed and jumped back. You have to do what I say or I'll divorce you. Perfect. A cold smile crossed his face. The civil registry is still open. Grab your ID. Let's go finalize it right now. Fine, will div. She stopped mid-sentence, realizing she had fallen right into his trap. Her tone shifted instantly. Listen here, Liam, I will never divorce you. Whether you want to or not doesn't matter, he replied. My lawyer sends the papers tomorrow. Sign them and I walk away with nothing. Refuse, and I'll sue you and take half of your assets. Choose wisely. Without a backward glance, he walked out. Standing outside, breathing in the fresh air, he felt an immense sense of relief. He would deal with Olivia legally. As for the Carter family, tomorrow he'd visit those animals and settle the score once and for all. Just then, a black Audi A4 pulled up. A woman in business attire stepped out, watching his retreating figure. She had a cold smirk on her face before she walked inside. It was Victoria, Olivia's best friend. Inside, Olivia was on the floor, crying her eyes out. Olivia, what's wrong? Victoria rushed over, feigning her concern, though a glimmer of delight flashed in her eyes. Vicky, Olivia clung to her tightly. What do I do? Liam wants a divorce. Victoria fought back a victorious grin and patted Olivia's back. Don't panic, tell me everything. After hearing the entire story, Victoria put on a show of outrage. Liam is being absolutely ridiculous. You just went to say goodbye to a childhood friend. He's being so petty. Exactly, Olivia agreed, feeling justified. Michael and I are just friends. Liam has no right to get so suspicious. Relax, Victoria smiled sweetly. He's just trying to scare you. There is no way he would actually leave you. Didn't he say he'll send the papers tomorrow? Just sign them. He'll panic, realize his mistake, and come crawling back to you, begging for your forgiveness. That will teach him a good lesson. You can use this to keep him in line. Olivia nodded eagerly. You're right, Vicky, you're a genius. I almost fell for his bluff. Victoria smiled, her eyes hiding a darker motive. We're best friends, always come to me for advice. The next morning, Liam arrived at the Carter family estate. He looked up at the massive red wooden doors and took a deep breath before ringing the doorbell. The morning mist covered the entire estate in an eerie, suffocating silence. Inside the grand house, the atmosphere was just as tense. The servants moved cautiously, not daring to speak. Everyone knew what happened yesterday. The usually quiet, obedient Liam Carter had dared to assault Kevin, the family's favorite son, right there at the wedding. Rumor was that Kevin's manhood had been completely destroyed. In the dining room, sitting at the head of the long rosewood table, Thomas Carter had his arm in a cast. He was reading the financial news with a face darker than a storm cloud. The Carter Group's stock was plummeting, and the wedding scandal made him feel completely humiliated. The anger in his chest was like a volcano ready to erupt. Next to him, Mary mechanically stirred her white porridge, her eyes wandering. Her mind was at the hospital, filled with images of Kevin suffering on his bed. Thinking about it all night made her want to tear Liam to pieces. but feeling the sting from the slap still on her cheek, her fire had died down. Diana and Lily were eating slowly, their faces full of exhaustion and resentment. Diana was especially annoyed. She couldn't understand why her father was showing Liam so much leniency. Usually, punishing him was a daily routine for the Carter family. But after he caused such a huge disaster, he still refused to call the cops. She decided that Thomas was simply afraid of the police investigation affecting the company's stock. Lily looked somewhat distracted, her eyes shifting between hesitation and gloom, lost deep in thought. On the other hand, Riley was in a fantastic mood. Eating her porridge, she couldn't hide the joy on her small face. Last night, the video she posted from the wedding had been shared over 300,000 times. By this morning, it had surpassed 2 million views, an incredible number for local trending topics. Riley just knew that if the video kept spreading, she would gain thousands of new followers. Once the cops arrested Liam, she planned to sneak into the jail, film a follow-up, and let her account explode in popularity. In the midst of this strange, tense atmosphere, the doorbell chimed, ding-dong. Every single eye immediately shot toward the front door. Thomas frowned, lowering his voice to give an order. Auntie Lou. Go see who it is. The maid quickly runs to the door, looking through the peephole. She freezes, then scrambles back to report. Sir, it's the young master. It's Kevin who's back. Kevin's back. Riley drops her chopsticks, her eyes lighting up with absolute joy. Diana looks up, confused. Isn't he still in the hospital? How is he back already? Mary leaps up anxiously, rushing toward the door. Kevin hasn't recovered. Why is he home early? That Sarah is so careless. Discharging him without telling her. But Madam, Auntie Lou quickly chases after her to clarify. It's not young Master Kevin, it's young Master Liam. Those words instantly plunge the entire dining room into dead silence. Mary stops in her tracks, the worry on her face twists into pure disgust and rage. That piece of trash, she rolls up her sleeves, looking ready to charge out and beat him down. Didn't he cut ties with the family yesterday? What's he doing back here? Diana sneers, her eyes filled with utter contempt. Ding-dong. The doorbell rings again. Riley glances at the door, seemingly relieved, but her tone remains venomous. That trash definitely realized his mistake. He can't bear to leave, and he can't give up the luxurious life of the Carter family. If they don't make him kneel in the rain all day and beat him half to death to avenge Kevin, she won't be satisfied. Hearing this, Mary and Lily nod in absolute agreement. Diana just narrows her eyes, a cruel smirk playing on her lips. Kneeling in the rain for a day, that's not enough. He owes them more. So much more. Mary grits her teeth. He ruined her son's future. How can they just let that go? They have to throw him in jail, find someone to deal with him properly inside. The doorbell rings for a third time, much more urgently. Honey, you can't be lenient with that trash, Mary whispers indignantly. After all, Kevin is still in the hospital. Doesn't his heart ache for him? Exactly, Dad, Diana chimes right in. You should have called the police yesterday. Now he's standing outside begging for mercy. This is the perfect chance to teach him a real lesson. Thomas's face turns green. He slams his newspaper on the table and roars. You rebellious brats, did my words yesterday just go in one ear and out the other? The doorbell rings a fourth time. Mary stomps her foot. You're too soft. You're letting that piece of trash walk all over us. As they bicker back and forth in the living room, they finally reach a sick consensus. Make him kneel in the rain first, then throw him in jail. The doorbell rings a fifth, sixth, and seventh time, getting more and more frantic. Riley just laughs smugly. 7 times, looks like that trash is going crazy. But while they're sipping their porridge and chatting, an earth-shattering boom suddenly echoes. The heavy, solid wood door gets kicked wide open, flying off its hinges and slamming brutally onto the long rosewood dining table, shattering everything. Dishes explode and food flies everywhere. Mary screams, scrambling backward. The others are frozen in absolute terror, unsure of what to do. He stands in the doorway, lowering his leg, sweeping a freezing glare over the dumbfounded animals. His voice is like ice. I rang the bell 9 times. Are all of you deaf? The faces of the Carter family members shift dramatically. Those who had witnessed his rampage at the wedding turn a shade paler. The figure standing before them, cold, ruthless, was the exact same insane Liam Carter. It all started yesterday. At that wedding, he hadn't just broken Thomas's arm. He had crippled Kevin, completely destroying the man's future. The family's most pampered young master was now lying motionless in a hospital bed, probably unable to even sit up. Thomas, watching from the table, scowled. He had assumed Liam came back today to bow his head and apologize. But as the doorbell spammed and the door was finally kicked in, he knew things weren't that simple. His arrogant certainty began to fade. Mary, Diana, and Lily were on high alert, bracing themselves for whatever stunt he was about to pull. Only Riley's, the youngest who wasn't at the wedding, had no idea how terrifying her brother had become. She was clueless. Liam Carter, Riley jumped up, pointing a finger right at him. You ungrateful scumbag. Not only did you injure brother Kevin, but you dare come home and cause a scene. Who do you think you are? Today, I will discipline you on behalf of our family. She rolled up her sleeves and charged at him. Riley, don't, Mary shrieked, desperately trying to stop her sister, but it was already too late. A loud slap echoed through the entire villa. Everyone instinctively flinched, touching their own faces. Riley was sent flying by his slap, blood dripping from her mouth, her eyes wide with total disbelief. Liam Carter, how dare you? Before she could finish screaming, he delivered a swift kick straight to her face. She flew backward, crashing hard into the entryway console. Blood splattered onto the floor. Riley. Seventh sister. Everyone in the hall screamed in absolute horror. Mary lunged forward to catch her, but when Liam's cold gaze swept over, she froze mid-step. You're insane. Mary's voice trembled as she stared at the bloodied Riley, her eyes full of both terror and rage. She is your biological sister. How could you hit her so hard? Biological sister. Liam looked coldly at the group of hypocrites. What kind of biological sister constantly runs her mouth, calling her own brother trash and a scumbag? If she doesn't treat me like a brother, why should I care? Riley was slumped on the floor, holding her swollen face and spitting out broken curses. You scumbag, if you have the guts, just kill me. He slowly walked over, looking down on her, his eyes completely devoid of pity. Killing you is too easy. I want to teach you how to be a human being. With that, he stepped directly onto her face. He ground his shoe into her cheek, completely ignoring her agonizing screams. His expression was a total blank. Riley Carter, from today on, if I ever hear you say the word scumbag again. He leaned down, his voice freezing cold. Don't think you can insult me and get away with it, because I will never show any mercy. As soon as he spoke, he kicked her hard in the stomach, sending her sliding across the floor to the edge of the dining table. Enough, Mary screamed, throwing herself over Riley, tears streaming down her cheeks. Liam Carter, you've gone mad. She's your sister. Aren't you afraid of karma? Karma, he scoffed, looking around the room. He stopped waiting for the heavens to deliver justice a long time ago. Today, I just want to personally teach all of you how to behave. Liam Carter. Diana gritted her teeth, glaring straight at him. You dared to hit seventh sister today. I'm calling the police and putting you in jail. Call them, he said. He sneered, staring her down. Go on, let's just see if he ends up in jail or if this whole family of animals gets completely wiped out. Diana flinched at his gaze, taking an involuntary step back. Her hands trembled, but she didn't dare reach for her phone. The villa hall fell into a dead, suffocating silence. No one even dared to breathe. Fear was thick in the air. He stood in the middle of the Carter family hall, a cold smirk on his face. Their mouths were full of venom, but he could see the pure terror in their hearts. Disgusted, his eyes swept over their ugly faces, finally landing on Thomas. You rebellious mistake. The man's voice was a low, questioning growl. Didn't you say you were cutting ties with us? What are you doing back here? Thomas Carter, don't flatter yourself. He glanced at him, his voice pure ice. Your opinion is worthless to me. Then why come back to show off your power, to mock us? Thomas clutched his injured arm, gritting his teeth. He came back for his things. His gaze swept toward the servants' quarters beneath the stairs. To get your things. Thomas swung his arm, roaring in pure rage. Everything in this house belongs to the Carter family. Nothing here is yours. He just sneered and stepped closer, staring straight into the man's furious eyes. Thomas Carter, don't overestimate this family's trash. To be honest, in his eyes, everyone in the Carter family is nothing but a pile of stinking dog waste, and their things are just as filthy. Thomas's face turned beet red, trembling with fury, unable to even speak. The things he wants are what he brought into this house. They don't belong to you, and another thing, he wants to completely sever all legal ties with this family. Dream on, Thomas glared at him viciously. Don't you even think about escaping the Carters. Don't forget, you carry Carter blood. He just laughed, a mocking sound. Don't be ridiculous. His household registration was removed the day he registered his marriage with Olivia. In other words, he's had his own independent household for a long time. What leverage do you possibly have? Thomas just trembled with anger, glaring at him. Our hero knew exactly what he was scheming. He just wanted the perks of the marriage alliance, but this time, he wasn't about to let him get away with it. During the standoff, a thick smell of smoke suddenly drifted into the hall. What is that? Mary frowned, covering her nose. Where is that smoke coming from? Our protagonist froze. A horrible premonition surged through his heart. He shoved Thomas aside and sprinted toward the backyard. When he reached the garden, the scene waiting for him almost stopped his heart. A massive fire was blazing right in the middle of the garden. As rain fell, the smoke only got thicker, and inside that fire, his old clothes, yellowed letters, handmade toys, and his most precious diary. A gift the orphanage director gave him when he was 12, it held every memory of his life. It was the most important proof that he even existed, but now it was all burning, turning into black ash. Evelyn Carter. He roared through clenched teeth, whipping his head around to face her standing by the fire. What are you doing? Evelyn sneered back, her voice dripping with malice. The trash you brought here, just like you, doesn't deserve to be in the Carter house. Don't treat this place like a garbage dump, you absolute scumbag. You're insane. Without letting her finish, he dove headfirst into the fire, desperately trying to save what he could. The fire scorched his arms, burning like needles, but he didn't care. He just wanted to save even a single piece. From the flames, he managed to grab half of the charred diary. The rest had already turned into ash. He lowered his head, clutching the diary tightly to his chest. He stood in the freezing rain, absolutely soaked. Oh look, the scumbag knows how to feel heartache, Evelyn sneered. This is just a little punishment for you. Now crawl to the hospital and kneel before Kevin to repent. Otherwise, I will beat you to death today. He didn't answer, just keeping his head down, but a question burned in his mind. Why? Why destroy the things most precious to him? Why treat him this way? All he ever wanted was to take his things back. Do you even need a reason? Do I need a reason? Evelyn scoffed coldly. Because you beat Kevin into that state, and because I felt like it. Why? He looked up, his eyes bloodshot as he roared, just because you felt like it. You destroyed what's most precious to me, just because you felt like it. He collapsed to his knees on the freezing, muddy ground. The pouring rain couldn't wash away the smoldering ruins before his eyes. Those were his most precious memories. The rage inside him burned away all reason. He glared at Evelyn, who was still sneering coldly. Just because you felt like it. His voice trembled with fury. That's right, Evelyn said lightly, her words laced with pure malice. Scumbag, didn't you say you were cutting ties with us? I'm fulfilling your wish. She pulled out 2 copies of an agreement and threw them down in front of him like trash. This is the severance agreement. Once you sign it, you and the Carter family will have no more ties. But don't even dream of taking a single cent from the Carter family's money. Are you going to sign it or not? He kept his head down, saying nothing. He carefully tucked the charred diary inside his shirt as rain washed over his hair, dripping down into the mud. Slowly, he stood up. The rain slapped against his face as if crying for him. Evelyn just assumed he was hesitating. She sneered, hands on her hips, mocking him. "I thought you were so tough." Cutting ties sounded so powerful, but now that it's actually time to sign, you don't dare. Afraid to lose the Carter family's assets. Her voice cut through his ears like a knife. The Carters behind her seemed to wake up, all chiming in with agreement. He stood there, his hands clenched into tight fists. The burns on his hands cracked open from the rain, blood seeping through his fingers, dripping into the mud. But he still said nothing, just glaring at her coldly. "Are you playing deaf?" Seeing he wasn't responding, Evelyn's embarrassment turned to rage. She raised her hand to strike him. "I need to teach you a lesson today, you scumbag." But before her fist could land, his right hand shot out like a blur, punching her squarely in the face. The punch connected squarely with her nose. Like a puppet with its strings cut, she crashed hard onto the muddy ground. "Evelyn!" Mary and Diana screamed, but neither of them dared to step forward. Evelyn lay on the ground, blood pouring from her nose, her mouth already filled with blood. Before she could react, she tried to get up, but her body felt weak. All she could do was glare at him with pure venom. "You scumbag, you dared to hit me. I'll kill you, I'll." He took one step forward, his voice as cold as steel. "This is only the beginning." He leaned down and a storm of punches rained onto her face. The sound of fists meeting flesh echoed sickeningly, even over the pouring rain. Each punch felt like a hammer blow to the hearts of the Carter family watching. Evelyn's face was quickly turning into a bloody ruin. Her agonizing screams were swallowed by the storm. Mary and the others were absolutely petrified, completely frozen where they stood. Auntie Lou and the servants didn't dare breathe. They had never witnessed this side of Liam Carter. The quiet, gentle young master was now a demon clawing its way out of hell. Evelyn tried to block the punches, but her strength was nothing against his. Every single furious punch landed squarely on her face, splashing blood in the mud. "Why?" He stopped, looming over her, the word ripped from his throat. "Why would you treat me like this? Does destroying everything I have make you feel superior?" Evelyn's face was so swollen she was unrecognizable. She couldn't speak, but her eyes still blazed with raw hatred. "Say it," he grabbed her face. "Why do you hate me so much? What did I ever do to you?" The Carter family could only cower in fear. No one dared get closer. Mary held Riley, trembling, not daring to make a single sound. Evelyn struggled to twist her lips into a broken smile. "A scumbag like you, your very existence is a mistake." Before she could finish, one more punch knocked her completely unconscious. Liam stood in the rain, drenched to the bone. He clenched his fists, staring at the blood-soaked paper at his feet. It was blindingly red and ice cold. Evelyn's words were a poison in his head. "You don't deserve it, Evelyn," he said, his voice cold and final. "I will not sign this." Hearing that, Thomas jumped to his feet. Pointing his cast-covered arm at Liam, he roared with fury. "You ungrateful brat, if you don't want to cut ties with this family, then what gives you the right to attack your own sister? She is your blood." "You heartless, unfilial dog," Thomas screamed. Liam slowly raised his head to meet his gaze, the fiery rage in his eyes on full display. "Don't be so quick to label me, I'll say it again. I, Liam Carter, will sever all ties with every single person in the Carter family. Cut ties." Diana slammed the table, jumping to her feet. "If you're so tough, then sign it. All this talk, but now you're scared, afraid to leave the family's wealth." He gave her a cold, dismissive look and said calmly, "Sign." He picked up the agreement from the mud, held it up, and sneered. "You want me to sign this piece of absolute garbage?" The agreement in his hand was soaked, the red blood bleeding into the black ink, creating an incredibly ironic sight. The Carter family looked at the paper, their expressions turning sour. Every single clause written, there was more ridiculous than the last. He looked down, his voice dripping with sarcasm. Not only do you want me to give up inheritance, you want me to repay all the family's support. And you also want to take the trust fund my grandfather left me. This agreement, the Carter family's greed, is truly something else. That is Carter family property. Diana gritted her teeth, glaring at him. You are a rebellious wretch. What right do you have to take it? You don't deserve it. He didn't even listen to her yelling. He just started walking, step by step, towards Thomas, a cold smirk on his lips. Carter, do you know why? He asked, his voice deep and freezing. I'm not refusing to sign because I'm reluctant to leave. It's because none of you deserve my signature. Insolent. Thomas's voice trembled. He was seething with rage, unable to hide his panic. Don't worry, Liam continued. I'm not the submissive fool you think I am. I couldn't care less about the Carter family's things. In fact, from today on, everything you owe me, I will take back piece by piece, you rebellious wretch. Thomas gritted his teeth, his hand shaking as he pointed at him. What are you trying to do? What am I trying to do? Liam sneered back. I will turn everything the Carter family has into ruins, from the wealth you're so proud of to your precious reputations. In the end, I will make you taste exactly what it feels like to lose absolutely everything. Boom. Thunder cracked across the sky as the rain poured down. The downpour intensified. Evelyn shrank back on the ground while Mary, her face still bloodied, looked at him trembling, her voice choked with fear. Don't hit me. I was wrong. He stared down at her, his voice cold and filled with hatred. It's far too late to admit you're wrong now. He walked towards the gate. Rain washed down his face, mixing with the smell of blood and ash. From this day forward, the Carter family and I cannot exist under the same sky. He stood in the rain, holding the bloodstained agreement, staring down these relatives who thought so highly of themselves. His finger pointed to the signature line, blood dripping from his fingertips. Look closely, this agreement only has Evelyn's signature on it. Lily frowned. Liam, what do you mean? I mean exactly what I said. He glanced at the crowd. I want to cut all ties with the Carter family from top to bottom. This document isn't just missing one signature, it's missing 8. He pointed to the blank space on the agreement. When all of you sign your names on this, then you can come find me. Otherwise, I won't sign. Thomas's face turned green, glaring at him. You rebellious wretch, keep dreaming. Liam ignored his yelling, staring coldly at the group. And one more thing. The Carter family, from top to bottom, does not include that mixed-breed bastard Kevin Carter. He doesn't deserve the Carter name. Hearing this, Mary jumped up in a rage, swinging her hand to slap him. How dare you call my son bastard, you scumbag. The slap echoed in the rain, but he stood firm. The stinging pain on his face only made him sneer. I'm just calling him what he is. He brought this on himself. Before she could curse again, he swung his fist, punching Mary hard in the face. She was sent flying, landing and rolling in the mud, a pathetic sight. Mom, Diana screamed, lunging forward like a lioness. But his freezing glare stopped her dead in her tracks. Mary clutched her face. Her eyes filled with terror, but still she muttered, You rebellious wretch, you hit me, I am your mother. Shut your mouth, he looked down at her coldly. Mary Carter, this was just warning. The next time you dare raise a hand against me, it won't be just one punch. He threw the agreement down before her, his voice bone-chilling. Get all 8 signatures before you come looking for me. Otherwise, stay out of my life. With that, he turned to leave. The rain running through his hair, mixed with blood, soaking the muddy path. The noise behind him faded until Lily's voice rang out. Out through the rain, Liam, why did you turn out like this? His sister cried out to him. They are your family. How could you be so heavy-handed? But Liam simply stopped in his tracks. He turned around, his gaze locking onto her coldly. Lily Carter. Ever since he had returned to this house at 16, a full 8 years had passed. And in all those 8 years, he asked, how did you people treat me? Don't you know in your own hearts? He took a step closer. Every word he spoke was a knife twisting deep inside her. When I was beaten so badly that I couldn't stand, where were you? When I knelt in the rain, did you ever help? Did you say a single word for me, even one, have you? Lily's lips began to tremble. It took her a long moment to speak. That was for your own good, she finally uttered. You came back from the orphanage with bad habits. If we didn't beat you and scold you, how could you possibly be fixed? Hearing this, Liam burst out into bitter laughter. He laughed so hard that tears nearly welled in his eyes, for his own good, the biggest joke. Lily, why don't you carve for your own good right across your face? It might look much more righteous that way, he sneered. Do you even know what an orphanage is? I lived there for 13 years. Every year I was a model student. I was a good kid. That's what all the teachers saw. If I have any bad habits, it is because you people gave them to me. He walked toward her slowly, each step like a heavy sledgehammer. Everyone struck at her heart. I was supposed to get the best elite education in the world. I was supposed to be the eldest son of the Carter family, but who destroyed all of that? Who took a 3-year-old child to the orphanage? Who made my life this way? His voice echoed like thunder through the rain. At this, Lily completely panicked. She staggered a step backward, her eyes filled with terror, unable to formulate a single word. It was you people, he gritted out, his final sentence striking her like a lightning bolt. It was the Carter family. It was you, a bunch of absolute animals. Hearing this, everyone's expressions turned impossibly ugly, especially those of Thomas and Mary. For a moment, a rare flicker of guilt appeared in their eyes, but Lily's reaction was strongest. She looked horrified, as if a dark, buried secret had just been dragged into the light. Her entire body trembled. I don't know what you're talking about, she said, her voice weak. It shook as she tried to defend herself from his accusation. You don't know, he replied coldly. His words were like daggers, piercing straight through her. Then tell me, Lily, that year why? Did you insist on taking 3-year-old me to the amusement park? Was it really just because you wanted me to have fun? He paused, letting the tension fill the air. Everything seemed to freeze. Lily's face grew even paler, her breathing hitched. Or did you actually want to abandon me? He pressed the question, giving her no escape. This statement left everyone completely shocked. They all turned to stare at Lily. Back then, after he went missing, the family was plunged into agony, especially Lily. She had cried every single day, even though Thomas and Mary were furious with her. Carelessness for losing him, they couldn't bear to be too harsh seeing her in such a state. After months of fruitless searching, his mother Mary had almost suffered a breakdown. The gloomy atmosphere only started to lift when Kevin was finally brought into the family. But now Liam's words left them all in shock, if he had been intentionally abandoned. And by Lily of all people, just how terrifyingly dark was her heart. All eyes were now glued directly to Lily. She panicked, her eyes darting around wildly. I didn't, it wasn't me, she stammered, but Liam didn't even bother looking at her. He just left her with one final, cold sentence. Whether you did it or not, you know best. As his words fell, Lily seemed to freeze over, unable to form a complete sentence. Liam turned, his voice echoing coldly, Lily, we are not done yet. In the rain, he swore that every ounce of suffering he endured for 13 years would be paid back, piece by piece. His quiet threat hammered down on her. Her body swayed unsteadily, but he didn't stop, walking straight for the gate. The servants saw him coming and immediately stepped aside to make way. Behind him, Thomas, Mary, and Evelyn could only stare at Lily in sheer shock. She looked like her soul had fled her body, muttering complete nonsense. Suddenly, Diana clung to Riley and shrieked, "Call the police. I have to. We have to put Liam in jail for the rest of his miserable life," Thomas roared. He tried to stop her, but Diana was defiant. "Dad, this time I must call them. Even if you kick me out of the house, I'll do it. That scumbag hurt sister." "Isn't that enough?" Thomas roared. "Shut up," cutting her off. But then Riley jumped in too. "Exactly. I want to call the police, I really do. Look what he did to our family. Why are you still on his side?" Lily said nothing. Thomas's face went cold as he issued a harsh ultimatum. Anyone who dares to call the police will be kicked out of this house. Your ties will be severed, and you'll lose all rights to inheritance." His words made Diana and Riley go pale. They didn't dare speak again. Their anger was gone, but their venomous glares still followed Liam. Just then, as he was walking out the gate, 2 police officers came into view. "Excuse me, is this the home of Mr. Thomas Carter? We are investigating a case based on a video we received." The police's arrival made the atmosphere even more tense. Liam turned back and stared coldly at Thomas. The man's face was pale, his body completely stiff. Cold sweat ran down his brow. The thing he feared the most had just happened. Riley, as if she found a savior, struggled to her feet and shouted smugly, "Dad, I called the police." Thomas's face turned green as he gritted his teeth. "When did you call?" "Didn't I forbid you from calling?" Riley just held up her phone, boasting. "I didn't call, I just posted a short video and happened to tag them." "When did you film a video?" Thomas breathed hard, his face dark as a storm. "Dad, it was when everyone was pushing Brother Kevin into his hospital room." Riley said smugly, a twisted smile on her swollen face, while everyone was. Walking ahead, I filmed it all from behind. She waved her phone around, admiring her handiwork. "See, I filmed it so well, everyone's so clear. Even travel vloggers can't shoot videos as well as I can." Mary and the others standing behind her looked at her smugness, absolutely dumbfounded. Thomas's lips trembled as he pointed, unable to speak. Finally, he spat out, "How could you post that video? Who told you that you could do that?" Riley pouted defensively, but her eyes were still full of pride. "That scum didn't just hit you and Mom, he beat Kevin into that state. I wanted to call the police, but you stopped me. I really tried to listen to you, Dad. But I just couldn't swallow my anger. If the police won't handle him, I had no choice but to let the internet punish him." She got more excited. Her eyes sparkled with pure arrogance. "That's why I filmed this video." Model, she wanted to make him look pathetic, to make people pity him. "See how well it's working, Dad." "Look," she said, "all the comments are cursing that scumbag." She then shoved the phone right into Thomas's face. The screen was just a wall of hateful comments. Some called him a monster for hitting his parents. Others mocked his brother Kevin. Some were even making dark jokes about the Carter Group and its stock price. Thomas's face drained of all color, veins popping as his entire body began to shake. He pointed a trembling finger at Riley. "Do you have any idea what you've just done?" "I know," Riley said, looking up proudly. "That scumbag's getting canceled by the internet. And then the police will toss him in jail. Isn't that the payback we wanted? Revenge for Kevin, we should be happy." Hearing this, Thomas was beyond furious. So angry he looked like he might pass out, standing frozen while pointing his finger. He was too stunned to even speak, but Riley, completely oblivious, kept on talking. She was acting like a total hero. "Dad, look, it has over 10 million views. The whole country knows Liam is a monster now. The more hate he gets, the better." "I love it," she cheered. "Dad, my follower count jumped by 500,000. I'm about to be a 1 million-follower influencer, and when Liam goes to jail, I'll film another video. My fans will increase by a few more million for sure." Riley was totally lost in her fantasy, dreaming of becoming a massive influencer. She didn't even notice her father's face had turned a deep, furious shade of red. Everyone else in the house just stared at her, completely stunned and speechless. "Dad, why aren't you saying anything?" Riley asked, waving her phone around blankly. "Are you mad I acted on my own? But in the end, we won, didn't we? That scumbag Liam is finished." Just then, a sharp, crisp slap echoed through the room. Thomas sent her flying to the ground. Instantly, half her face turned red and swelled up. She held her cheek, dazed, taking a long moment before finally looking up at him. Her eyes were wide with disbelief. "Dad, you hit me. What did I do wrong?" "What did you do wrong?" Thomas seethed, his eyes burning with absolute rage. "That video you posted just destroyed our entire family. Don't you understand? Do you see what damage those comments do to the Carter name, to me, to our company? You think this only makes Liam look bad, he roared, pointing right at the phone. You just aired out our family's private shame for the entire world to judge. They're not just cursing him, you fool, they are cursing the entire Carter group. You destroyed your brother and you destroyed this family, and at that, Riley finally understood. The severity of the situation crashed down on her. Her smugness was gone, replaced by panic. Her mind was a total mess. She couldn't see how one video caused all this. But even then, she still felt wronged. In her mind, the fault was all on Liam. So why was she the one being punished? A terrifying silence fell over the Carter estate. Nothing could be heard but the quiet, steady sound of the falling rain. Suddenly, a police officer's voice cut right through the deadly atmosphere. "Mr. Thomas Carter. We're here about a video we saw online. Are the events depicted in it accurate? Is it true? Did Liam Carter assault family members at the wedding and in the process severely injure your other son?" The question snapped Thomas back to reality. Immediately, the anger on his face melted away, replaced by pure, uncut fear. He frantically waved his hands. No, absolutely not. That video is a complete fake. Nothing like that happened in the Carter family, but the cops were already looking past him. The garden was a disaster, a beaten Evelyn, Mary collapsed on the ground, and Riley with a bloody mouth. Then finally, all their eyes landed squarely on him. On his blood-soaked hands, the signs of a fight, absolutely undeniable. The situation in the video looks real. Are you seriously trying to deny it? Thomas wiped away sweat, scrambling for a lie. It's just a misunderstanding, Kevin. He was in a car accident. He wasn't beaten, but he couldn't keep his story straight. His eyes darted around in pure panic. That's when Riley couldn't stay silent any longer. "Officers, it's true. It was him, Liam Carter, at the wedding. Shut your mouth." Thomas went completely berserk, lunging forward and kicking Riley straight to the ground. Her words cut short. That one kick made the police doubt every word he'd said. Their gazes shifted between Thomas, Riley, and Liam, finally settling on him. He was clearly their prime suspect, but Liam just watched it all unfold, completely unfazed. Not hiding, not explaining, he simply slowly raised his blood-stained hands for all to see. His voice was deep and clear. "Officers, everything you saw in that video is true. I'm the one who injured Kevin Carter and the people lying on the ground. I beat them too. If you want to arrest me, then let's go." His full confession stunned them. The cops were speechless. This was probably the most cooperative suspect they had ever met. Seeing their shocked faces, Liam found it almost amusing, but Thomas's face went white. Deathly pale as if struck by lightning, he glared at Liam, wanting to tear him apart. But behind that anger was pure panic and fear, and Liam knew exactly why. He was terrified that if Liam went to the station, all of his dirty secrets would come out. When that happens, forget 2 billion, not even 20 billion would be enough to save him. Thomas's lips trembled as he desperately rushed to stand in front of the officers. He waved his hands frantically. "Officers, it's a misunderstanding, my wife and I. We just fell at the wedding. My son Kevin was in a car accident, not beaten." As for Liam, his hands got cut slicing the cake. It was not from some fight. The officers just glanced at him, clearly not buying a single word of it. Their eyes swept over Liam's blood-coated hands. The evidence was irrefutable, cut slicing a cake. The lead officer's voice turned to ice as his gaze landed on Riley's swollen face. And on Evelyn, lying motionless, the woman on the ground showed clear signs of a struggle. Thomas forced out a laugh. "It really was an accident. My worthless daughter just spouts nonsense online. Please don't believe her." But Liam had heard more than enough. He was done with the babbling. He stepped forward, cutting him off. "Officers, everything is true. The video's content is 100% accurate. I did that to Kevin. I beat Mary and Thomas at the wedding. Riley's bruised face right here. I did that too." His words hit like a bomb, plunging the entire scene into dead silence. Mary covered her mouth. Her eyes were red, looking at Liam with a complex gaze, as if trying to see through him. But he didn't look at her. he just coldly swept his eyes over everyone in the room. His voice was resolute. "Since everything is clear, please take me away, Liam Carter." Thomas couldn't contain it anymore, roaring with bloodshot eyes as if he was ready to die. "What exactly do you want? Do you have to push us to the absolute brink of ruin?" "Push you?" Liam sneered. "I'm just cooperating with the police to save them some time." "Are you unhappy about that?" Thomas trembled with rage. "Good, very good, tell me. What is it you want?" "Very simple." Liam looked coldly at Riley sitting on the ground. "I want her to publicly apologize. Post a video on all her social media model." The media admitted it. Last night's video was a fake, entirely fabricated by her. "Impossible." Riley shot up, her eyes red as she screamed at Liam. "Keep dreaming. I will never apologize to you, not even in my next life." "Then there's nothing more to discuss." Liam turned to the police, holding out his hands. "In that case, let's go. We can handle this down at the station." "Stop right there." Thomas lunged forward to block Liam, his face absolutely disgusted. He gritted his teeth, turning his furious gaze on Riley. "You get over here and apologize to your brother this instant." "Dad," Riley shrieked in disbelief. "You're telling me to apologize to this scum? Look what he's done to our family. And you're still on his side." "Shut up." Thomas had clearly reached his limit. "If it wasn't for your video, would the Carter family be humiliated like this? The company lost $2 billion in value. Do you even know what that means? Now I'm telling you to apologize, and you're just standing there spouting nonsense." "Believe it or not, I won't apologize," Riley screamed, cutting him off. Tears streamed down her face. "Make me bow to this scumbag. I would rather die." Smack. A sharp slap echoed through the garden. Thomas knocked Riley to the ground. Half of her face instantly turned red and swollen. She held it, dazed. It took a long moment for her to finally react, staring at her father in disbelief. "Dad, you hit me." "You hit me?" Thomas's voice was ice cold. "You caused this disaster. I want to beat you to death. Now crawl over there and record an apology video. Otherwise, I'm kicking you out of this house. From this moment on, whether you live or die has nothing to do with the Carter family. You are on your own." Thomas's face was twisted with pure rage. He rushed right in front of Riley and swung again. The slap landed like a crack of thunder, causing her already swollen face to explode into a bloody mess. She looked absolutely pathetic. Riley clutched her face, crying from the pain, staring in terror at her furious father. This was the first time she had ever seen Thomas in such an insane rage. An uncontrollable fury. "Riley, let me tell you," Thomas roared, his finger jabbing. His finger was practically in her face. "Today, you will publicly apologize to your brother. You made this family lose everything. Now you have to pay the price. For your stupidity, no one gets away with mistakes without consequences." He grew angrier as he spoke, his voice ripping through the air. "If you don't apologize, I will kick you out right now." "Dad," Diana couldn't help but speak up. She pleaded for Riley in a hushed tone. "Seventh sister did it for Kevin, for the family. Why are you pushing her to a dead end?" "Shut your mouth." Thomas spun around. He glared viciously at Diana. "For Kevin, she lost the company $2 billion. Is that for Kevin?" Hearing $2 billion, Diana immediately fell silent. Even though she wanted to defend Riley, that number felt like a mountain crashing down. It left her completely speechless, and the others were the same, from Mary to Evelyn. Their eyes were just filled with anger and blame, all directed right at Riley. That's when Riley finally realized it. No one was going to defend her anymore. Facing her raging father and the cold glares of everyone else, she finally had to submit. She lowered her head and mumbled, "I'm sorry, Brother Liam. The video online was fabricated to frame you. I apologize." Liam's voice cut in, cold as ice. "I can't hear you." He had told her to apologize publicly online, not just mumble an excuse. With his words, Riley's face turned completely pale. She clenched her fists tight, tears brimming in her eyes. She knew if she posted that public apology, the online backlash would destroy her. Everyone would turn against her. But she never once considered what would have happened to him when he was cyberbullied by the entire internet. Not daring to resist, Riley shakily took out her phone and wiped her bloody nose. She opened her camera, her voice choked with sobs, but the resentment on her face was impossible to hide. "Hello everyone, I am Riley Carter, and I am here to apologize. The video I posted earlier was fake. Liam Carter did not assault our family members, nor did he harm my brother. It was all fabricated by me. I sincerely apologize to brother Liam and to everyone. I hope you do not follow my bad example." After recording, Riley carefully looked up at him as if begging for forgiveness. He just gave her a cold stare, his voice totally empty. "Now post it, immediately." Riley held her phone, her finger hovering over the post button, hesitating, terrified to press it. She knew once it was up, there was no turning back. But looking at her father's bloodshot eyes and Liam's icy face, her hand trembled, and she finally hit the button. The moment the video went live, Riley's tears flowed like a broken string of pearls, pouring faster than her bloody nose. Just a minute later, the video was on her personal account with its 7 million followers. It was instantly viewed by thousands. Thomas took out his phone to check, verifying there were no mistakes. He took a deep breath, turned to Liam, and gritted his teeth. "Are you satisfied now?" Liam smirked slightly and nodded. "Consider me temporarily satisfied." He turned back to the two police officers, his voice suddenly calm. "Officers, I just misremembered. I actually didn't do any of those things. I'm not sure if there's anything else you need to investigate." The officers frowned in confusion, looking at Riley and Mary on the ground, then at his bloodied hands, but it was obvious. Mary weakly lifted her head, her voice exhausted. "I fell on my own. It has nothing to do with Liam." Evelyn, lying on the ground, also gave a slight nod. "We fell and got hurt on our own. It has nothing to do with him." Riley shakily raised her hand, mumbling, "Yes, I fell on my own. It has nothing to do with my brother." The two officers looked deeply annoyed, as if they had just swallowed a fly. They never expected this kind of bizarre family. Usually, when family members fight, they want each other dead, but now they all insisted their injuries had nothing to do with him. Even when Liam confessed, not a single person would back up his story. The two officers looked at each other, their eyes filled with utter helplessness. They swept their gaze over everyone, lingering on Thomas and Liam for a few seconds, and finally sighed. The lead officer coughed, looking at the tearful Riley. "Young lady, don't make up stories in the future, and don't casually tag the police. Our resources are limited. If there's a next time, it won't just be a legal lecture." Riley's face was a mess of tears. She wanted to argue back, but seeing her father's threatening glare, she lowered her head. "Yes, I understand." The police gave Liam a deep look, shook their heads with a sigh, and left the Carter estate with complex expressions. The rain was pouring even harder now. Through the heavy mist, the police car rolled away and slowly disappeared from view. Inside, the younger officer couldn't help but curse. Is that family completely insane? Quiet, the older officer rubbed his exhausted temples. "Without any real evidence, our hands are tied. The whole family says they fell. Who are we supposed to arrest?" The young officer was still fuming. "But Captain Yao specifically told us to bring in Liam Carter. We failed our mission." "How do we explain this?" Hearing Yao's name, the older cop shivered. "Just tell her the truth," he mumbled. "We had insufficient evidence to proceed. The entire family is protecting him. We couldn't arrest him if we wanted to." Rain battered the windows as the two sighed, driving out of the villa complex. Once the police car vanished, the Carter estate was silent again, but the atmosphere inside was 10 times more suffocating than the storm outside. Liam stood in the middle of the hall, sweeping his gaze over the Carters on the floor. He sneered, "Go on, call the cops to arrest me. Be my guest, just try it." Thomas's face was beet red with anger, his eyes looking like they wanted to devour him. But Liam didn't care. His voice was as cold as frost. "You can try whatever you want. But don't say I didn't warn you. If you dare lay a hand on me, get ready to pay. He's made himself perfectly clear. If they don't believe him, they can go ahead and test it. With that, he turned on his heel and walked away, not even glancing back. Behind him, Thomas's chest heaved with pure rage, while Mary clenched her fists. She gritted her teeth, spitting curses under her breath. The Carter sisters' eyes were bloodshot. They looked like they wanted nothing more than to tear him to pieces. Riley, crying so hard her face was a mess, pointed at his back and wailed to her father. "He's the one who hit us. Why did you make me apologize? Why'd the police let him go?" "Dad, just look how arrogant he is. Shut your mouth," Thomas roared back. His eyes looked like they could crush her. "You still have the nerve to speak. If it wasn't for your stupid video, would the Carter family be this humiliated? The company lost $2 billion. Do you even know what that means? Can you pay it back?" At the mention of $2 billion, Riley finally fell silent, her voice shrinking. But she still couldn't accept it. "It wasn't my fault. It's so unfair. It's clearly that scumbag Liam who started all this. Why am I taking the blame?" "Shut up," Thomas's veins bulged as his shaking finger pointed right at her. "From this moment on, you are forbidden from provoking him, and no more random videos. If you act so recklessly again, you're out. Get out of this house for good. The Carter family fortune will have nothing to do with you. Do you hear me?" Hearing that, Riley completely broke down. Tears flowed like a river as she screamed. "Fine, I'll leave. I don't want to live in this house anymore. I hate all of you." Crying hysterically, she ran straight out the door, vanishing into the heavy rain. Diana and Mary moved to chase after her, but before they took even a step, Thomas shouted coldly, "Don't you dare go. Let her leave. Hasn't she caused enough trouble? Let her learn a hard lesson and see how long she survives out there on her own." "Dad, but she's our sister," Diana pleaded, but then a sudden, sharp pain hit her. She collapsed straight to the floor, her voice trembling from the shock. "Dad, I can't move. My back hurts so much," Diana groaned in pure agony. Her voice was incredibly weak. "Dad, I can't move." Cold sweat poured down her face. Her face went deathly pale, sending everyone into a complete panic. "Diana, what's wrong?" Thomas yelled, rushing to her side, his mind in total chaos. Mary was also terrified, her face pale, completely frozen, not knowing what to do. Evelyn, gritting her teeth through her own pain, screamed out, "Dad, her spinal condition relapsed. Get her to the hospital now." Auntie Lou panicked, and hearing Thomas's command, she scrambled to call the driver and prepare the car. Moments later, the Rolls-Royce pulled up right next to Diana. Everyone gently lifted her into the car. The driver fired up the engine and sped toward the hospital. Back in the garden, Lily just stood there dazed, muttering as if trapped in a nightmare she couldn't escape. Walking out of the Carter estate, he couldn't hold back the pain crushing his heart. He lowered his head, the rain mixing with his tears and blurring his vision. Before his death in the last life, his biggest regret was failing to protect the things that mattered most. Reborn for a second chance, and he still couldn't do it. The gifts from his friends at the orphanage, some of whom were already gone, leaving only those precious keepsakes. Now everything was burned to ash by Evelyn, all of it just because of a single sentence. Because she felt like it, thinking of the late director, his heart felt like it was being sliced apart. He took the charred half of the diary from his shirt. His trembling hands caressed it, tears streaming down his face. "Director, I'm sorry. I couldn't protect the last gift you left for me." He stood there in the rain, holding the diary, crying in silence. The rain hammered his face, but it couldn't hide the agonizing pain deep in his heart. Suddenly, Riley sprinted through the rain and stopped right beside him. Her face was twisted with malice. "Liam Carter, you scumbag. I will never forgive you for this. I hate you." Then she turned and ran off into the rain, disappearing. He didn't respond. He just hugged the diary, keeping his head down, standing there with eyes full of sorrow. The rain poured harder and harder, as if trying to wash away every bit of suffering in the world. Suddenly, a gentle, familiar voice cut through the noise. "Liam, you're back." He looked up, rain streaming down his face. Through the blur, he saw a woman holding a white umbrella standing right in front of him. Her voice was full of concern, soft as a glowing cloud. "Sister Vanessa." He looked at her, his voice trembling. Before him stood Vanessa Wood, wearing a white dress, looking like a lily in the rain. Elegant and beautiful. She had a smile on her face, but her eyes were filled with worry. Her slender hands reached out and took his. "Why are you so soaked? Quick, follow me home." He looked at her and just let her pull his hand as they walked through the downpour. Her hand was warm. The familiar feeling pulled him out of that abyss of despair. They entered Vanessa's villa. Her house was a bit bigger than the Carter family's, and under the warm lights, it looked incredibly cozy. Looking at the familiar space, memories flooded back like a tidal wave. In his past life and this one, she had never changed. She was always the same gentle older sister. Standing by the door, she was about to say something when her eyes widened. "Liam, your hands, what happened? Let me see." He smiled bitterly and shook his head. "It's nothing, just a scratch." "I'll put some medicine on it and it'll be fine." "Absolutely not." Vanessa pulled him to sit on the living room sofa, looking at him with pure heartache. Her voice was gentle, but "Liam, sit still." "I'll bandage that for you right now," she insisted, rushing off. She called out, "Auntie Lee, quickly bring the first aid kit and a towel." The servant, Auntie Lee, quickly brought the items right over, and Vanessa grabbed the kit and towel and ran back, her face filled with a worry that warmed his heart. Since returning to the Carter family at 16, he had never received such genuine care. The Carter family never noticed the wounds on his body. But Sister Vanessa was always the first to step forward and bandage him up. She would even argue with the Carter sisters on his behalf. A wealthy young lady, yet she shed so many tears for him. Vanessa draped the towel over his shoulders and gently took his hand. Seeing his hands covered in burns, her eyes turned red. She looked up at him, her voice soft, as if afraid of startling him. "Liam, it might hurt a bit, but I'll be gentle. Just bear with it, okay?" He nodded, watching her use tweezers to grab a cotton pad and dip it in iodine. She carefully began cleaning his wounds. The pain spread, but he was used to it. A little bit of pain was nothing. Seeing no reaction from him, Vanessa looked up, her eyes full of sorrow. "Liam, does it hurt?" "It's fine, Sister Vanessa. I'm used to it." The moment he said it, her tears overflowed. His heart ached. She lowered her head, sniffing softly, her movements becoming even more delicate. "Liam, just hold on, I'll be done soon." The strong smell of iodine filled the air. Looking at her focused expression, his feelings were a complete mess. In his past life, he'd seen her argue countless times, defending him against the Carters. She would get so angry her face turned pale, but he never stood up. Not once did he say a single word for her. Looking back, that so-called family love was just a lie he told himself. What was it? Did the Carter family ever treat him like real family? "Sister Vanessa, I'm sorry," he choked out the words. Vanessa looked up in a panic. "Liam, does it hurt a lot? Did I hurt you?" She hurriedly checked his hand, her face overcome with worry. "No," he shook his head. His heart was just full of guilt. If he hadn't been so weak in his past life, she wouldn't have suffered so much injustice. Or been scolded and bullied by the Carter family. Reborn with a second chance, he swore he'd never let her suffer any grievances ever again. Vanessa just sighed, continuing to clean his wounds. Her movements were gentle, like she was handling a precious treasure. Looking at her, his heart felt heavy. In his past life, she carried the entire Wood family, enduring countless storms, even collapsing from utter exhaustion at her company. And all he could do was stand by and watch. Those memories felt like sharp bones sticking in his throat, making his fists clench tight. In this life, he absolutely would not let history repeat itself. Vanessa quickly bandaged his hands, even carefully tying a cute little bow on the bandage. She smiled gently and blew lightly on the back of his hand. "Liam, the pain is flying away. It won't hurt anymore." Her action made him chuckle. "Sister Vanessa, I'm not a kid anymore." Vanessa just reached out and ruffled his hair, a doting smile on her face. Liam, in my eyes, you will always be a kid. A warm current spread through his chest. A smile finally appeared on his lips. But then she suddenly lowered her head as if remembering something, and her voice changed. It now carried a hint of guilt. Liam, I'm sorry, I was busy yesterday. To your wedding, how was it? Did it go well? But Liam froze, the old pain in his heart surging once again. He answered calmly, it didn't go well. Olivia Vance ran away. What? Vanessa shot right up, pure anger flashing on her face. I've never seen her act like that. Why would she do that? Her fury was intense. Liam was taken aback by her anger, about to tell her to calm down. But Vanessa grabbed his hand first, trembling with rage. Liam, let's go. I'm finding Olivia. I will get justice for you. Seeing how agitated she was, he felt both touched and helpless. Vanessa, you really don't have to do that. I already canceled the engagement, and with that, Vanessa froze in her tracks. She looked up at him, her voice laced with pure disbelief. Liam, what did you say? I said I canceled the engagement, he calmly repeated, but Vanessa was just standing there. She stood completely still, needing a moment to process this new information. As he detailed the wedding disaster, her expression shifted to something like joy. She even blurted out, that's great. Liam was stunned. He hadn't expected that. Realizing her slip-up, Vanessa quickly started waving her hands in front of her. Her cheeks flushed red. I mean, it's really good that you made that decision. Seeing that he wasn't overthinking it, she finally let out a sigh of relief. Her face softened back to its gentle state, but then she heard the reason. When she heard Olivia ran off, her anger flared right back up. A childhood friend. That is completely unacceptable. Vanessa started pacing back and forth angrily. She was clenching her fists, looking like she wanted to go settle the score with Olivia herself, right then and there. Vanessa, please don't be so angry. Liam smiled bitterly, trying to comfort her. I honestly don't care anymore. But looking at his exhausted face only made Vanessa's heart ache even more. Liam, how could she treat you like that? How can I not be angry? You're so good. She said, her eyes turning red again, genuinely feeling outraged on his behalf. It's really all right, Vanessa. I promise I've already let all of it go. He sighed and stood up. Thanks for patching me up. I want to go for a walk. Just to relax a bit. It's still raining outside. Don't go. Vanessa hurried to her feet to stop him. Seeing her genuine concern, his heart felt warm. He stepped forward and gently hugged her. She froze completely, her body going stiff. But just for a moment, before she relaxed, he whispered softly into her ear. Vanessa, this time I will absolutely protect you. Vanessa went rigid all over again. Her face turned bright red as a ripe apple. Liam, she said, completely flustered. Let go of me, he just smiled gently. You really don't need to worry about me. I'll be fine. With that, he walked to the door. Liam, wait, take an umbrella. Vanessa rushed after him. Handing him an umbrella, her eyes absolutely full of worry and reluctance to see him go. He took it with a nod. Thank you. I'll take care of myself, Vanessa. He opened the umbrella and stepped outside. He could feel her standing there in the doorway, watching his back as he left. As he walked into the rain, a Maybach S480 drove up from the distance. It stopped right in front of the family villa. Liam stood not far off, watching. He watched the car door open. Out stepped a flashy, greasy-looking man. A sleazy, fake smile plastered on his face. Vanessa, what are you looking at? Her expression instantly turned to ice. Trent Harrison, have some self-respect. Don't call me that. Trent just laughs, waving his hands with a sleazy grin. I'm just so eager to see you. Shut up. Vanessa's voice cuts through him, ice cold. Trent Harrison, if you have no business here, then leave. My home doesn't welcome you. Vanessa, why are you so cruel? But before he could even finish. Slam, the villa door slams shut in his face, locking him outside. He presses the doorbell but gets no answer from inside. His face darkens. He glares at the door, walks back to his car and sits down, just grinding his teeth. This woman is a fortress. He's frustrated, sure, but then the corner of his mouth twitches up into a bizarre smirk. He lights a cigar, taking a long drag. His eyes are filled with pure arrogance. An ice queen like this, conquering her will be fun. Vanessa Wood, don't you dare dream of escaping my grasp. He lets out a low chuckle. His gaze lazily sweeps across the rearview mirror, and then suddenly he freezes. He spots the back of a man, a thin figure, clear as day in the mirror, and his smile vanishes. His eyes turn deep, calculating, so that's the kid, the one Vanessa can't let go of. He taps the steering wheel, his expression unreadable. Just now she looked at him with such tenderness. This is definitely not simple. Liam Carter, right, that name he thinks sounds very familiar. And right at that moment, his phone lights up with a video app notification. The headline reads, "Trending influencer frames her own brother, sparking public outrage." Trent casually opens the video, and there's the face of Riley Carter. Her face is bruised and swollen as she cries, apologizing directly to the camera. Admitting she framed her brother makes him jolt. He nearly drops his phone. Watching the confession closely, he smirks. So it's this guy. No wonder that name sounded so familiar. He glances at the rearview mirror again. And smiles. This is getting interesting. He steps on the gas. The Maybach glides out of the villa complex as a sinister laugh echoes inside. Meanwhile, the banks of the Hank River in Mado City are packed with people. Even in the gloomy rain, tourists are snapping photos under their umbrellas. And in one corner of the riverbank, a highly anticipated movie is being filmed. Cameras, lights, and actors create a lively set, drawing in a huge crowd. The film is funded by the New Vank Culture Group with a massive budget. Over $100 million. Ever since its announcement, the hype has been off the charts. Veteran actors and rising stars all fought for a role, especially for the lead. The trending female lead, K.H. Carter, is the center of everyone's attention, but the filming is violently interrupted by a swarm of reporters appearing out of nowhere. Camera lenses are shoved right onto the set as they fire off questions. The director and staff are getting a massive headache. Miss K.H. Carter. You're the daughter of the Carter Group, correct? Miss K.H. Is it true that the Carter Group just lost $2 billion in market value? Does this affect you? We also heard your younger brother was permanently injured. Is this true? Facing these sharp questions, K.H. Lowe's face turns deathly pale. She's reeling. She takes a deep breath, trying to hold herself together. This movie was everything. It was an opportunity she had fought tooth and nail for, a turning point in her career, but these reporters aren't just messing with her, they are destroying the entire set. The whole shoot is thrown into chaos. The crowd just stares at her, their expressions unreadable. Expressions. K.H. was fuming, humiliated, but she plastered on a fake professional smile. Stepping forward, she addressed the reporters gently. Please, everyone, calm down. I'll answer your questions. But first, I hope you can all be rational. Don't believe every false rumor online. My brother did just have surgery, but it wasn't because of what you think. It was because every single one of his limbs was broken. He just got out. The operating room, all 4 limbs shattered. A gasp of horror rippled through the crowd. Who could do that? So cruel. One reporter pushed forward, asking who beat her brother. At that sharp question, a poisonous look flashed deep within K.H. Lowe's eyes. Thinking of how Liam utterly crushed Kevin, she gritted her teeth in pure hatred. But she instantly calmed down. Her mind raced. This was the perfect chance. She had to pin every bit of blame on Liam, completely destroying his reputation. K.H. Lowe's whole expression shifted, transforming into that of a complete victim. She even squeezed out a couple of tears, her voice cracking. My friends, today I must apologize to you all. My family has produced an absolute monster, and I can't hide it. Not anymore. The reporter's ears perked up instantly as cameras zoomed in. That's right, the one who broke my brother's limbs was my other younger brother. Liam Carter, she spat, her voice like a razor. Liam Carter. The press was stunned, immediately recalling the viral video from the night before. The one where Riley apologized to him, so Liam was her biological brother. A female reporter saw her chance, shoving a microphone right in her face. A flash of malice in her eyes, but on the outside she just nodded pitifully. Yes, he is. He's my brother, the crowd exploded. The reporters were ecstatic, hungry for more. They asked her why he would break his own brother's limbs. What kind of grudge was this? Exactly, what could possibly make him do something so horrifying? Seeing all eyes fixed on her, K.H. Lowe felt a wave of triumph, but kept her face a mask of sorrow. Yesterday was Liam's wedding, she began. Our whole family was busy setting it up. But the night before, he got arrested for gambling and soliciting. We had to bail him out of the station. Of course, the bride found out. She ran away mid-ceremony. He then took all his rage out on the family. He went absolutely ballistic in front of everyone, smashing everything in sight. He destroyed the wedding cake and even threatened us with a knife. Hearing about the crimes, the reporters and onlookers all frowned with absolute disgust. Their opinion of Liam hit rock bottom, and seeing that, K.H. Lowe felt victorious. She leaned into her performance even more. We all tried to calm him down. But he just got worse. He hit my parents, my sisters. Kevin, he just wanted to protect us. He stepped in to stop him, but Liam broke all 4 of his limbs. Now he's just lying in a hospital bed, wrapped up like a mummy, totally paralyzed. So brutal, the crowd was horrified. K.H. Lowe wiped away her fake tears, her voice thick with accusation. But that's not all. After the bride left, he demanded to cut all ties with us. After we loved him so much, treating him like our little treasure. For him to bite the hand that fed him, oh my God, that's worse than an animal. An angry tourist yelled out that scum like that should just be thrown out. The crowd's fury was growing by the second. The entire mood was under her control. K.H. Lowe was overjoyed inside, but on her face she was the picture of sorrow. She puts on her fake victim act, secretly wishing he'd just disappear. Chloe bows, ready to add more fuel to the fire and destroy Liam completely. She faces the reporters, her voice dripping with false guilt as she begins her act. Apologizing for wasting their time, she pauses for dramatic effect, eyes flashing. She continues her performance, saying her brother Liam Carter has done absurd things. She calls his actions a failure of their family's education, speaking on their behalf. She offers a sincere apology to everyone, then her voice suddenly shifts. Now it's a pleading tone, but no matter what, he is still her brother. She begs everyone for some respect, to be lenient, claiming he's suffered enough. He just got out of jail, his bride fled, and now awful rumors are flying. Rumors that he caught a nasty social disease. K.H. Lowe sighs, trying to look heartbroken. Tears well up in her eyes. He is pathetic enough already, please stop. Her words hit their mark. The reporters murmur, completely sympathetic now. They agree Liam Carter is worse than an animal, especially with such a noble sister. So pitiful having a brother like that, and a social disease, absolutely disgusting. A man like him needs to be exposed. K.H. Lowe lowers her head, hiding it. Hiding the undeniable smirk spreading across her lips, a look of pure victory. But just as public opinion was tilting completely in her favor, everything changed. A bald, middle-aged reporter suddenly stepped forward from the crowd. His face was grim, his voice ice-cold. Miss K.H. Lowe Carter, there seems to be a problem. A problem with what she's saying. The room goes silent, all eyes on one thing. The phone in the bald reporter's hand. He's holding up an apology video. A video from her 7th sister, Riley Carter. He sneers, then adds the detail. She admitted herself that she framed her brother, Liam Carter, so why the different story? Why claim he forced her? The press erupts. Cameras swing right back at K.H. Lowe. Her perfect smile freezes on her face. She tries to suppress her rising anger. She retorts coldly, asking if they even saw the video of her beaten sister. Black and blue, it was obviously forced by Liam Carter, but the reporter holds his ground. He doesn't back down. What about the disease? Where did that rumor come from? He demands proof. K.H. Lowe, burning with embarrassment, just waves her hand to stop him. She insists her sister was obviously coerced, given how badly she was injured. As for the other things, she claims to have enough evidence, just you wait. She threatens legal action before hastily ending the interview and storming off. She leaves with an ugly expression. The bald reporter just sneers behind her. Muttering about a fake playing the victim, she really thought she could fool him. Not him, the king of paparazzi. Backstage, KH Lo's carefully crafted mask shatters. Her fake facade is gone. She slams her phone on the table, watching the video. Riley looks completely beaten down. KH Lo grits her teeth and tries to call her. But all she gets is a cold, dead tone. Damn it, who dared to do this to her sister? Who beat her like this? She won't even pick up. Furious, KH Lo calls her eldest sister. She calls Evelyn, eldest sister, where are you? The answer is chilling, the hospital. What, you got beaten too? Even their mom is hurt. Diana's spinal injury relapsed. She is in excruciating pain. KH Lo clenches her fists, her voice trembling. I'm coming right now, but on the other end, Evelyn wearily stops her. Third sister, you don't need to come. Just focus on filming. I'll handle things here. Right? Chloe took a deep breath, barely suppressing her rage as she spoke. She'd be there after filming. Hanging up, she stared out the window, grinding her teeth. Liam Carter, you just wait. I am definitely going to settle this score with you. Backstage, an assistant named Fiona carefully handed over a bottle of water. Sister Chloe, drink some water. Chloe took it, muttering thanks. But her eyes still burned with pure anger. Fiona hesitated for a moment. Sister Chloe, you seemed really angry. Did something happen? Chloe sneered back. What else? It's all because of that scumbag Liam Carter. Fiona froze at the name. Her eyes went wide. You're Liam Carter's older sister. Chloe glared at her. You know him? No. Fiona quickly waved her hands in denial. I just saw the news online and found out about him. Oh, I see. Chloe let her guard down.